No Semenyo, no sweat. Bournemouth today put to bed the woes of losses against Brentford and Brighton with a stunning 4-2 victory against former gaffer Gary O'Neill's Wolverhampton Wanderers at Molineux today. As you can tell, I wasn't there. I was going to be, but as you probably know if you've seen this channel, it's been a bit of a mad week, but the camera was at Molineux, that's the main thing. So stay tuned and make sure you do me a couple of favours, mainly like this video. This is an instant reaction, and of course you can subscribe as well. Hit the bell when you do that because a notification will come on when the next video comes out, and it's going to be a good one. I think overall, what a good performance. We exuded class in that, and whilst there are probably going to be a couple of question marks over the 2 goals that we conceded, as there always is when you concede a goal, the good thing about this was that we followed up the opposition scoring with us scoring straight after, and seemingly on the road recently for Bournemouth, it's been the other way round. We score, they score. Today, it seemed to be the other way round. The stars of the show, Evanilson and Kluivert. The duo just looked unreal in this game. The Brazilian won 3 pens. I think out of the 5 pens that we've had this season, I think Evanilson's won every single one of them. And today, the Dutchman Kluivert was on hand to score each and every one. The first hat-trick of pens in the Premier League. I think on the preview before the season began, we said that Wolves' Premier League games have seen 48 goals this season, more than any other side. So I think this game ensured that that stat won't be changing any time soon. What does it mean for Gary O'Neill's future at Molineux as well? Who knows? But quite frankly, who cares? We'll get into it shortly, but before we break it down, we need to talk to you a little bit about Saily, a new eSIM service app who are supporting Back of the Net. They're brought to you by the guys from Nord Security, and you know what it's like. You're travelling abroad, just like we were in July when we watched Wrexham and Arsenal. You need data on the go, right? Sometimes it's pricey. You don't want to be falling for the local scams either. We want to keep it cheap, so that's why we use Saily. An eSIM from them provides an internet connection wherever you travel and saves you money on your pricey roaming fees. You download the app once, you buy a plan. By the way, prices are affordable and there are global and regional plans and unlimited data plans. And then just install the eSIM with instructions on the app, and look, if you struggle, there's 24/7 support on hand. It's dead easy and it'll be compatible with your device. Handy for when AFC Bournemouth go on a European tour, right? So save time, avoid the scams, and stay connected with Saily. And look, if it doesn't work out, you can get yourself a full refund. And we've twisted Saily's arm, and they've given BOTN viewers an exclusive 15% discount on Saily eSIM data plans. Just download the app and use code AFCB at checkout, or just go to the link below, saily.com/AFCB. When you're next travelling, use Saily. Yeah, do check that out, all the links below. So at 1:45, the teams came out. Much to our surprise, Lewis Cook not in the squad, had a slight muscle problem, so they decided to rest him for this one. And this meant that Brooks was called into the starting lineup. I think we all know what the team would have probably been had it been for Cook being available, but Christie came back a little bit deeper, sat alongside Adams. I think he would have probably played in the number 10. As it was, that was Kluivert, Brooks on the right, Tav on the left, of course, Ever up front. Other than that, I think it was pretty much as expected. But I'll tell you what, that's probably one of the weakest benches that we've had since Andoni arrived at the club, with Winterburn and Kinsey sat on there. And crazily, I was just seeing a stat that said only Man City have made more changes to their starting lineups in the Premier League than Bournemouth this season. So look, we managed to adjust today, but we adjusted well. As for Wolves, as you can see on screen, they were unchanged from the Fulham game. Craig Dawson was back, however he decided to keep it the same, and it was always going to be interesting how it was going to pan out. I think the expansive front foot team that Iraola likes to deploy, that kind of style of full throttle football, if I can say it, where against a team where most of the average positions in the last 4 games at least, when checking out the stats, as we know from having O'Neill as manager, well, most of their positions have been in their own half when looking at the overall averages. That's a low block or sitting deep to me and you, but counter-attacking quickly, and that's where they can be very successful and have been previously under O'Neill. So it was always important that we countered that today, but we did do. Now the conditions at Molineux, overcast, the pitch was slick, but it wasn't long before the away fans were rewarded for their 3.5 hour trip, and a bit more, trip to the Black Country, as the impact of Iraola's style of mixing up, it came to the fore almost immediately. I mean, usually, yes, we'll press high, yes, we'll overload the wings with the fullbacks, yes, we'll transition fast, but if the likes of Senesi, Zabani, etc. can pick out a through ball, like happened a couple of times today, then we can turn defence into attack almost immediately, and that's exactly what we did, with the ball reaching Ever, who was almost neck and neck with Totti, and as the ball came over, oh my God, did he take it down well. VAR checked to see whether it was a shoulder or an arm, and we've had that go the other way this season, remember? Ouattara against Newcastle, they checked after a penalty was awarded because he managed to bring it down, find some space, and just as he was about to pull the trigger, Totti came in with a challenge, poor challenge from the Portuguese defender, went down, and Kluivert stepped up, coolly as well by the way, put it straight down the middle, and a solid start, but my God, the start was high octane. And I did say in the preview that the last 4 games that we've played with Wolves at Molineux have been 1-0. Well, you can scrap that. In fact, you could scrap that 2 minutes 16 seconds later, as Wolves were level. Excellent header from Larsson, a well whipped cross from Bellegarde. The Wolves play was sort of in the middle of the pitch, and then Kerkez, I think, maybe gave the ball away a little bit too cheaply. The ball's worked out to their right, and then probably sat off as the cross came in, and Zabani maybe a little bit flat-footed, but really good header. And Wolves were back in action. Cue scenes at Molineux, but like I say, when they scored, we scored. That didn't happen once, but happened twice in this game. Now, we've already lost 5 games after scoring first this season, and last season I think we dropped 27 points from winning position, so there was always going to be a concern after that happened in this one. But you know what, it was almost like a trigger point in the game whereby we asserted our dominance. As for the rest of the half, I thought we were absolutely supreme. It's almost habitual that we concede straight after scoring, but with this, wow, did we respond after Wolves scored. And you know what, there's something about Molineux that I really do like, and I don't know how the pitch dimensions compare with Dean Court, but it always feels like we've got a lot of space on the ball. And when we have a lot of space, and if all our players are technically on point, then I felt as though Wolves would be able to be punished, because I do feel as though man for man we are a better side, and it proved to be the case, because from this point forward, whilst it was a little bit harem-scare and basketball-y, Zabani and Senesi on the whole, I think, had things on lockdown, unlike maybe the first 5 minutes. So Wolves had fairly little to shout about, really. At the other end, though, their central defence definitely did not. And there was some really good work in what, I've got to say, this goal that I'm about to describe, possibly my goal of the season so far. Kluivert and Evanilson causing absolute havoc. Christie just bossing it in the middle of the park with some really nice, crisp, one-touch stuff at times. And do you remember Jordan Zamora against Bristol City, that finish? Kerkez did exactly the same. The ball, it flowed from right to left, and Wolves were just chasing shadows because we were moving it so quickly. I think it was Brooks, Adams, and then Christie combining. Then the Scot, I think, megged his marker to find a little bit of room, and then as Evanilson came across, deft little back heel to give Christie some more space outside of the left foot pass to Tav, I think it was, who could have shot. He was outside the box, but he must have heard Kerkez coming like a steam train, and that is just such an Iraola type goal, because Kerkez came in and then smashed a left-footed finish into the roof of the net. What a goal. By the way, Tav weighted that pass absolutely perfectly. It was superb. Not long after this, Evanilson, man, oh my God, he should have made it 3-1. I think it was Kluivert on the right-hand side, whipped in a ball, and how he didn't score, I'll never know, because it was such a good chance. Really poor from him, that. But you know what? Elsewhere in the game, he was absolutely brilliant. Really good at changing with the other front three. And then came the perfect opportunity to make it 3-1, and that was via the penalty spot yet again. And ever doing the archetypal Iriola press, Jose Sarr dilly-dallying on the ball. And just as Evan Nilsson closed him down, he just nicked a touch on him. Sarr went to kick it out, swiped the back of his calf muscle, Ever went down, and after a couple of checks, I mean, to me, seeing it was 100% a pen. I could tell straight away, but they always have to check. And then Kluivert stepped up, converted it low to the keeper's right, low to the left. And so after 20 minutes or so, Bournemouth winning at Molineux 3-1. And at this stage, by the way, we're talking about clinicality in previous shows. Bournemouth, right? Get this. 6 shots, 6 on target. There's a lesson in clinicality. And as the attacking momentum suggests, if you can see it on screen, Wolves, they did get back into it a little bit. And there were a couple of half-hearted penalty shouts, and half-hearted, to say the least. I think one or both of them might have been checked by VAR. I can't really remember. But other than that, you sort of was Kepa really worked? No. Defensively, I thought we were all right. And I've got to say, throughout the side, I mean, I've got to say, with Tyler Adams, his strength is almost like being invisible in the game. Can't really remember what he did, but every time he did it, he just did the simple things. Didn't really put a foot wrong. I thought him and Christie worked really well. It was quite nice for Christie to be given that license, knowing that, you know, Tyler Adams is going to be that anchor. So I thought he was really, really good. And look, we spoke a little bit about Tav, about Kluivert, Evan Nilsson, David Brooks as well. He was operating the press, I thought, really well today, being really physical. He's beefed up a little bit, I've got to say. And Wolves had no answer for the constant application of that press. And there were some really impressive attacking phases. We could have scored about 4 or 5, I think. And excellent stuff. And at half-time, boos rang around the stadium. And there was a little bit of a conflab between the keeper and someone else by the South Stand at Wolves. Don't quite know what happened there. Maybe on Match of the Day or looking through social media afterwards, we might be able to find a little bit more about that. But then, yeah, so 3-1 at half-time. Absolutely superb. Gary O'Neill did what Gary O'Neill does, and Ball fans were kind of raising their eyebrows, but almost not. We were maybe rolling our eyes a little bit on 46 minutes where Rodrigo Gomez, the left midfielder, was replaced by Craig Dawson. Huh? But there was some method to O'Neill's madness, because Wolves were better after that. They really were. Didn't do much with it. I think they were in our half more. They had more of the ball, and they were in, you know, better situations, but they couldn't get past our backline and create that much. Kepa wasn't overly worked, but the next goal was always going to be important, and it went to Wolves. And the basketball nature of the match at times sort of, yeah, came to the fore. Dango, I think, was running through on the right-hand side after coming on for Brooks, and he sort of, his last touch wasn't great. Ball was intercepted, and then a long ball found Larsson. And Senesi was coming in like a steam train from a central position, and I thought he was going to win the ball. He didn't, and Larsson was pretty much through on goal. I think Zabani might have been trying to play the offside, didn't work, and then powerful shot past Kepa, 3-2. Concerning, yeah, not for long. 1 minute 26 before we managed to get a penalty, and Evan Nilsson again, and Sarr brought him down. Craig Dawson sold the keeper a little bit short, and again, it's just a case of him. He's not the quickest, is he, Evan Nilsson? But he's just got this habit of just nicking in front of defenders, getting that touch, and then drawing the foul. Probably better than Dom could ever do. But it was a penalty, all ends up, and then Kluivert, who was about to come off before the penalty was given, by the way, slotted home really coolly. We had a no-look penalty. And this was pretty much the same, where he's just looking to see where the keeper was, slotted it nicely to the right-hand side. So one was down the middle, one was to his left, and one was to his right. And then he did come off, much to the acclaim of all his AFC Bournemouth teammates and those on the bench. And coming off was probably a good call, given that, of course, he's on 4 yellow cards. We also had Billing and Unal coming on as well. Kluivert was one of the men that made way for that. Evan Nilsson also did as well. Gary, what's the score? Gary, what's the score? Love that from the Bournemouth fans. And the last 15 minutes, really, we saw it out quite comfortably, really. And it's fair to say that Wolves paid the penalty against Bournemouth, as Jack Tanner writes on his Twitter. I'm sure that headline's going to be used up and down the country for tomorrow. And isn't it mad? Last Christmas, on Boxing Day, Bournemouth fans were yearning for a penalty, and it was like a post-Christmas gift after 609 days, was it? When we got one against Fulham, where Solanke scored it. As Christmas approaches this season, we got 3 in the same match. We wouldn't be getting that if we weren't pressing high, and that is exactly what we did in that game. A really, really, really good performance. I thought we were absolutely superb. Just been texted by Ollie. Oh, I love this. Absolutely love this. He did the vlog, and we're going to put that on. Thank you so much for people that have stepped in during quite a tough week. But thank you for Bournemouth for stepping in today, putting in a bloody brilliant performance. Absolutely superb from us. Cherries winning at Wolves 4-2. There will be a second look, and look, whether I'll be at the game on Thursday or not, I don't know. There's been a lot to sort out this week, and I've just been absolutely drained, and it was a late call last night to say, look, I'm not going to go. My bad, but that was one for my dad, hopefully. So yeah, brilliant performance, 4-2, up the chairs, and stay tuned because there are some scenes to come. What a performance, you Reds.